Yo, what's up YouTube? It's J Dean, Dean of Music, and I'm back with another video. And today I'm here to talk about Jay-Z, Hove, Sean Carter, whatever you want to call him. But when people bring up Jay-Z's classic albums, they always bring up Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, Black Album, Volume 2. Nobody talks about this album. I don't know if you can see that. People now are starting to talk about this album. So I'm here to talk about American Gangster, which to me is another Jay-Z classic. Feeling godly when I walk through the building. I got it all from the confidence escaping my feeling. It's time to ball. Yeah, I call Jay-Z's American Gangster a classic. It was released in 2007, November 6th of 2007. And Jay-Z had got the idea to make this album after he seen the early screening of the American Gangster movie. Everybody knows that movie. Well, I hope you know that movie, the American Gangster movie with Denzel. And he said, that's Al Blotter. You got to block that shit. But a lot of people know that movie. It's a great movie. It's a classic movie. And he saw that movie and got inspired to make a whole album called American Gangster. Let me tell you, the album is straight fire. A lot of the production on this album, you wouldn't believe it, but most of the production was done by P. Diddy. Believe it or not, I heard a story that Diddy had a lot of beats for Biggie, like a lot of soulful beats for Biggie, that he didn't get to go to or rap to or whatever because his untimely demise, and Jay-Z stumbled across those records. I think I saw that in the video or heard somebody tell that story. But after Jay-Z saw the movie American Gangster, he got inspired, and I guess he got producers together and then ran into Diddy, and it made those, he had those beats already. And then his production from Just Blaze, No ID, I think the Neptunes got two records on here. Oh, Jermaine Dupri produced on a couple of these records, but mostly I think it's like 6 or 7 songs is produced by Diddy. This album was released on November 6, 2007. I think that's like 2 or 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks after the actual movie came out. So it's not an official soundtrack, but it fits perfectly with the movie. And unlike a lot of Jay-Z albums, this album right here, American Gangster, is a concept album, believe it or not. You know, it's a simple story about, you know, you being in poor or being in bad conditions of what you living in, and then, you know, you're American dreaming to get to that promised land and get to the bigger and better life. And some people go to school and do that, but no, niggas sold drugs. So this whole album is about the ups and downs of selling drugs and what goes on with that, with him starting completely at the bottom to him having this high success with drugs and then falling back down. That's why the last song on this album is called Falling, because the last 2 songs, Blue Magic and American Gangster, is actually bonus tracks. The album officially ends on Falling. But let's get into the tracks of the album. But before I get into that, a lot of the records is either soul samples or is beats were inspired by 70s, 60s music, which was the time of American Gangster, was 60s, 70s. So I thought the beat selection on this album was amazing. For Hov to really be in pocket like that this late in his career, because this is 11 years removed from Reasonable Doubt. This is a grown Hov. You know what I mean? This is after the Rockefeller split. This is after his first retirement, after Kingdom Come, which Kingdom Come was a decent album, but this album right here is way better than Kingdom Come. But let's get into some of the records. You got the first song, which is the intro. I don't really count that because it's the intro, but it's Idris Elba, which I will always call Idris Elba Stringer. I will always call him that. But it's Idris Elba because Idris Elba was in the movie, believe it or not. Idris Elba was in the movie. He got shot in broad daylight because he didn't think Frank Lucas would shoot him in broad daylight. He shot him in broad daylight. So it's just Idris Elba giving like a monologue about coming up in the game on the beginning of the album. You actually don't hear Hov's voice until the second to the second song. You hear 3 voices before Hove actually even says anything on this album. It's Idris Elba first, and then it's a lady that's on the first song. I don't know her name. And then you hear Beyonce on the second song, which is Pray, and then you hear Hove. So it's like three voices you hear before you even get to Jay-Z's voice. But Pray is a fire record. I think that was produced by Diddy. I think you got American Dreamin', which is personally my favorite record on the entire album. That Marvin Gaye sample, and then that third verse when he was like, when Jay-Z did that double entendre scheme where he was like, survive the droughts, I wish you well. Hold on, survive the droughts, I wish you well. How sick am I wish you health, I wish you wills, I wish you wealth, I wish you insight so you can see for yourself. Let's just break that down for a minute. Hove is one of the greatest lyricists of all time, and I don't think he get a lot of credit for that. But peep that double entendre. If you don't know what a double entendre is, a double entendre is one, in rap terms and literacy terms, one thing having 2 meanings. So when he says survive the droughts, I wish you well, droughts, dry, and then wishing you well was actually wishing you well, like I wish you good things in life. But the well is the double entendre, because the well is actually I wish you well, like wish you good things. But a well is also where people used to get buckets, go down, and it'd be a string. This is to all my young people that don't know what a well is. And then it'll be a bucket, they'll turn something, and then it'll go down and get the water. So survive the droughts, I wish you well, because the drought is dry. Survive the droughts, I wish you well. And then he realizes how cold that line was, repeats it, and then he says, how sick am I wish you health, I wish you wills, I wish you wealth, I wish you insight so you can see for yourself. I wish you insight so you can see for yourself. Get it? Because insight, if you can see insight, you can see for yourself. Hove is nasty, man. Shout out to Hove for that double entendre. I love that record. The Marvin Gaye sample, the bars that's on that record. And that really, Pray sets the tone for that record, because he's praying for that big dream, but in American Dreamin', he's really coming into fruition of what he has to do to get to that American dream. American Dream is one of Jay-Z's best records. I love that record. And when this album first came out, it was 2007. I was 10 years old. So to be for real, I wasn't old enough to really understand what was going on and what he was saying in this record. But when I went back to this album when I was in like my late teenage years, I think it was late teenage years, early 20 years, because that's what I do. Like if I'm bored or I feel like I need something new to listen to, I'll go back in people's catalogs and see what albums that I missed when I was a child, or albums that was before me, and it'll give me something new to listen to, which I encourage a lot of people to listen to. Go back and listen to older music, please do. But American Dreamin' is one of my favorite Jay-Z songs. If I would do a top 20, I would put American Dreamin' in there. I love that record. And then you got Hello Brooklyn 2.0. I don't know if it's a Hello Brooklyn 1.0. I'm guessing it is, but I've never heard it. Anybody in the comments could tell me if Hello Brooklyn has a version before that, because it's called Hello Brooklyn 2.0. But this song features Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's on the hook. Hello Brooklyn, how you doing? And then Jay-Z also predicts. I ain't gonna say he predicts. I'm gonna say he manifests and put it into the atmosphere that he was gonna bring a basketball team to Brooklyn. Because he says it in the record. He said in the meantime, I'm gonna bring you some nets. So that record is also amazing too. That's a record I remember when the album came out. I remember people playing that album a lot. That song is also fire. But that song, he's like, okay, Brooklyn, I'm here. I done made my mind. I'm doing this now. I'm selling you these drugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm here now. So hello, Brooklyn. Still into the concept. We three songs in and we're still into the concept of the record. And then you got No Hook. And then it's a line in No Hook. He says it really aggressive, where he was like, he said, fuck D-Haven for caving, made men ain't supposed to make statements. And D-Haven is a real person. That's somebody Hove was actually around and Hove knew. So, and I think the story is maybe he snitched or something like that, and Jay-Z isolated himself from him. I don't fully know the story, so I don't want to put that on anybody's jacket of anybody snitching, but he says that in the record. And I don't need no hook for this shit. And he also says in this record, where I liked a couple bars, where he said I'm more Frank Lucas than Ludacris, and Luda's my dude. I ain't trying to diss. Like, Frank Lucas is cool, but I ain't trying to snitch. Hove pockets that he be in is just, but him just saying like he's more drug dealer. He's more drug dealer than a rapper. That's basically what that line means. I'm more Frank Lucas than Ludacris, because Ludacris is a rapper, Frank Lucas is a drug dealer. But him saying like, he's not dissing Luda, but he's more of a drug dealer than a rapper. That's basically what that line means. And I just thought that was a clever way of him saying that, and him clearing it up and saying like, Luda's my dude. I ain't trying to diss. Like, Frank Lucas is cool, but I ain't trying to snitch. Hove, man, one of the best lyricists of all time. And then after that, you got Rock Boys. It was a time period like with 106 in Park where I would see videos so much with 106 in Park and MTV Jams. And I never really watched TRL, but 106 in Park, MTV Jams, Rap City, I seen videos so much that every time I hear the song, in my mind I can still see the video. And Rock Boys is one of those. They played the hell out of Rock Boys on 106 in Park. It was like, it had to be on that top 10 for like at least a month or something like that. They played the hell out of that song. And I always thought that Kanye produced this song, because he's on the song. I always thought Kanye produced this song. Kanye did not produce Rock Boys. I thought he did. I think did he produce Rock Boys? I always thought Kanye produced Rock Boys, but did he produce that beat? Believe it or not, that record is fire too. It was more of the that was the big single. Rock Boys was the big single. I know it wasn't the first single. I think Blue Magic was the first single, but Rock Boys was like the big single from that album. The Rock Boys in the building tonight. And then at this time in the album, for concept and story wise, this is at like, you know in them drug dealer movies where they're at the height of their drug dealing, everything's going perfect, the packs is moving perfect, there's no trouble for real. They out there partying. The Rock Boys in the building tonight. Oh, with a feeling I'm feeling like. Yeah, you ain't even gotta bring the paper out. We the dope boys of the year. Drinks is on the house. Like, they feeling themselves now. They done made it. They feeling themselves. That's where the story is at. And then you got Sweet. Sweet might be my least favorite song on this album. It's cool. It's a cool song, but it's my least favorite. Like, when it come on, when I'm playing it straight through, I just vibe to it. I don't be like, oh, this is my shit, turn it up. Yeah, but it's a cool song. I didn't add it like on my Spotify playlist. It's a cool song. That's the weakest song on the album to me, but I know some people might be like, you crazy. And then you got I Know. Now, I Know is fire because the whole record is a double entendre. The whole record is a double entendre. You can either take this song and Jay-Z's talking about how he's needed in music, how he's a dope dealer in the music sense, or you could take it to as he's the actual drug. That's how you could take it. I Know by Jay-Z has a lot of similarities to 50 Cent's Baltimore Love thing that was on the Massacre that was released 2 years before I Know. And a lot of the similarities is they both rap in the perspective of being the actual drug, but I think Jay-Z does rap in the perspective of being the drug that the person is addicted to. So you could take Jay-Z's I Know into he's talking about in music he's the drug that you need, or he's the actual heroin, that the person needs, that they're addicted to. Like, and then in the story in Jay-Z's record, the first verse is them being completely addicted. The second verse is them realizing that they're addicted and they need to get clean. And then the third verse is them actually being clean, and then now Jay-Z being a drug is like, damn, I miss the days, what she says in the last line of his verse, I miss the days where you needed the D. But in 50's record, 50 actually raps in the perspective of being the drug, but he treats it like it's a love relationship, which is why it's called a Baltimore love thing. 50 actually raps about a person being addicted to the drug in the first verse, and in the second verse, he's telling the person like, I'd have been around rock stars and I was one too. I fuck with rock stars, so you lucky I'm fucking with you. So he's like, 50's kind of like manipulating and gaslighting the person in the second verse, because it's an actual love record, but it's actually really toxic in the drug sense. And then I think the second verse on 50's record, the person that's addicted to the drug is trying to get away from the drug, and then trying to get away from the drug, and they slip back into that pocket. And that's when 50 says, he said, I'm back, bitch, don't ever try that again. And then the third verse on 50's record, the third verse is like the same thing with Hov's verse. They both get clean from the records, but he said, I'm in love. He done already streamed himself into his kids. I personally prefer a Baltimore. If I had to compare them on what's a better song, I think 50 Baltimore Love Thing is a better written song than Jay-Z's I Know. But they're both incredible records. But I think 50 wrote the song better. But 50 was a great songwriter, so that's no knock at Jay-Z. But lyrically, of course, Jay-Z's record is going to be better. But I Know I loved that song when I first heard it. It's a video for I Know, I think. When I first heard it in 2007, I still love that record. Timeless record. And then you got Party Life, which is probably one of my favorite beats on the album, just because it's so 70s, it's so groovy. It feel like you had a 70s party with that record, and a 45 is spinning, or a 12-inch or a 7-inch is spinning, and it's blaring through the speakers. And Jay-Z doesn't do too much lyrical on this album. He just smoothly flows over the beat. He doesn't try to do too much lyrically. He doesn't try to be too aggressive on the record. Hov is perfect on that record and just vibing out on that record. And then he says on the record, he said, I might let this shit ride out for 7 minutes. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the best beats on the record, and it's not even like overproduced. It's perfect. It's a perfect sample. So shout out to Hov for not doing too much on that record. But then after Party Life, you got Ignorant Shit with Beanie Siegel. And I love the concept of this record, because at first Hov is talking, he says in the song, like, I do a song like Big Pimpin' or Give It To You, and y'all hail me as one of the greatest songwriters of all time. But he said, when I give you some thought-provoking shit, y'all question if I fell off. And that's what a lot of rappers like struggle with. When you can navigate within both lanes of songs that's just fun, they don't really got no heavy social commentary on it, and then the songs that got the social commentary and are thought-provoking, you can weave between both lanes. But when you do the one that, because let's talk about it, right? Because the social commentary and the thought-provoking music doesn't perform as well as shit that has nothing. You don't say anything on those records. They're just fun records. They don't do as well as the records that are just for fun, and understandably so, because the ones that are just fun cast a wider net than the songs that are thought-provoking and have social commentary. So I get that, but a lot of people will say you fell off because now you're actually saying something with actual substance in the music, which is crazy. And so that's why Hov starts that verse off where he's just saying a bunch of ignorant shit, and then he slowly introduces the medicine. He slowly introduces the medicine with the candy into the second verse. And then that's why he says on that record, like, don't believe what you hear, even if it's spat by me. And then he said, with that being said, I will kill niggas dead. You know what I'm saying? So he perfectly weaves some of the knowledge into the ignorant shit, which was beautifully done by Jay-Z. Shout out to Jay-Z. And then Beanie Siegel is on that record as well. Beanie Siegel killed that record. So Ignorant Shit, one of my favorite songs on the album, based off how Jay-Z started off with Ignorant Shit and then was bleeding the medicine in with the Ignorant Shit and then going back to the Ignorant Shit. And then he says at the end of the song, it's only entertainment. So that's another amazing record by Hov. And then you got Say Hello. I love the chorus on that song, even though it's such a simple chorus. Say hello to the bad guy. I'm a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So I love that record as well. And then in this story, they still coasting. You know, they still coasting off of the drug dealing, you know. And then Success with Nas. Nah, it's a skit at the beginning of Success where the person says your success took a shot. So now they're starting to feel the negative of the drug dealing. And then the song with Nas is a perfect tone on that record. I don't know what came first. I don't know if Black Republican came before Success. I don't know. But Jay-Z bodied this record, and Nas went crazy on this record. He said, my old buildings, I drive by like monuments. Come on, man. Nas is one of the greatest rappers of all time as well. But that's another amazing record. So now that we're into 12 songs on the album, and I only said it's really one that I was like, it's cool. But none of them was like, oh, this is horrible. This is classic territory. This is classic territory. And then you got Fallen, which is sequenced the end of the album. And this is another fire record. It is just another fire record. And then you got two bonus songs, which is Blue Magic. Let me tell y'all something. Let me give y'all something to say. I loved Blue Magic when it first came out. I don't know why I loved that song so much as a kid. I was 10 years old when this album came out. I don't know why I love this song so much as a kid, but I love Blue Magic. I still love Blue Magic. I love how Jay-Z floated on that record and the type of flow that he had on that record with them drums and that Neptune beat. And the story of that record is, I think the Neptunes played that beat for Young Jock, and they wanted Young Jock to do the same flow and tone that Hov did. But they didn't do it. Young Jock didn't do it. Jay-Z did that beat and he made an amazing song. And then finally you got American Gangster, the song American Gangster, produced by Just Blaze, which I think that song sounds a lot like Touch the Sky. Touch the Sky by Kanye and Show Me What You Got. The drums. Yeah, the drums, and it's a faster tempo. So I don't know if Just Blaze made those all in one pocket, but those three songs sound alike to me, and that song is also fire. So there are 15 songs on this album, really 14 songs on the album because the intro is not a song, but it's for sequencing. 15 songs on this album, a Jay-Z concept album, beautiful sequencing, amazing production, amazing raps. It's a classic. It's been almost 19 years since it came out. I'm calling Jay-Z American Gangster a classic, and it's a top 5 Hov album. My opinion, it's a top 5 Hov album. I actually put American Gangster over 444, and I will debate you. Now, this is the real debate. If you made it this far in the video, this is the real debate. What is better, American Gangster or Volume 2? My personal opinion, I'm putting American Gangster over Volume 2. It's just my opinion. I love American Gangster. I love the soul samples on there. I love the polished Jay-Z rapping on there and the bounce back from Kingdom Come, which didn't critically get received as well. But I love American Gangster. I think it's a classic. I feel like it should be talked more with his classics, with the Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt, Black Album Volume 2. This album is up here. Jay-Z's catalog is amazing, and one of the only artists to have like 5 to 6 classic albums. So shout out to Hov, amazing album. If you haven't listened to American Gangster, please listen to American Gangster. It's a great album. But it's been J Dean, Dean of Music. See you next video.